below my waist. If you love me early on, guess what? I'll come home before to curse you, Daddy. If you love me before something goes wrong, you ain't got to bail me out of jail. Just recognize me. See, a young person, watch this, simply wants to be recognized. The problem tonight, the problem in recognizing is that many times we think there is an ulterior motive behind it. Let me tell you straight up tonight, I don't want an award. I don't want a plaque. I'm not asking you for anything special. I don't want a date. Please keep your dinner and a movie. Just acknowledge who I am. See, I don't know where we got off, Dr. King, as a society and as a culture where we don't even recognize each other. How can you sit on a pew on Sunday morning, sit on a pew on a Thursday night? You've been here for a good 2 hours, and you ain't even moved your crusty lips to say hello. How can you be in the house of God and not even speak to nobody? How can you walk by me in a hallway without saying hello? How do we get so busy? How do we get so self-absorbed? How do we get so stuck on self that we can't even lean over and tell somebody hello? Let me burst your bubble real quickly. You ain't that cute. You ain't that handsome. You ain't all that to keep your hello to yourself. And if it take all that, then maybe keep your hello. If it take all that, brother, go hit somewhere else. God has created me to be better than your same nasty attitude. I'm just letting you know, church. You just don't know what a kind gesture will do for a person. It can change their entire day around. It can change how they think about church folk. It can enhance their perspective in negative situations. See, we got to come out of ourselves long enough to recognize what God is doing in the life in somebody else. See, when you do that, you're showing signs tonight of spiritual maturity. Spiritual maturity means we got to build the people up, Dr. King. See, when you build the people up, you're raising nations. When you build up our young people, you're destroying generational curses. When you build up our young people, you let them know you can speak proper grammar. Let me help you out. It's not speaking white, but it's speaking right. You're stopping the attacks of the enemy. When you build up our young people, you're building up the future of the church. You ain't got to wait for your turn, brother. Your turn is right now. When you build up our young people, you're building God's people. See, it's time for us to mature in the house of God. No more selfishness, no more self-centeredness. Away with the old self. You better recognize what God is doing right now. And if folks don't recognize you, mighty Mount Zion, please don't get discouraged. That just means you better recognize yourself. That's why Peter told me in the scripture, I am a chosen generation. I am a royal priesthood. I am a holy nation. I'm so good that I'm God's own special people. I mean something to God. You may not return my text message. You may not return my phone call. But God created me for a reason. I'm created to be royalty. I'm a part of God's holy nation. You ain't got to say it. I'll say it for me. I'm chosen. I'm royal. I'm a part of God's holy nation. God created me to be something great in this earth. Let me help you right here. I'm not after retweets. I'm not after your likes on Instagram or new Facebook friends, because God created me for something so much better. I'm God's own special people. You better recognize who I am. So Peter wrote to encourage God's people. You better recognize. The problem is, Dr. King, we often recognize folk for the wrong reasons. Peter in the text is talking to a people who have been steadily focused on the wrong thing for so long, they don't know what the right thing looks like. folk can get recognized and labeled for who they hung out with, for what and who they did in the bedroom, for how they used to act. Even if God delivered them, healed them, and set them free, there will always be some random joker who will try to remind you of what you did on yesterday. But Peter worked to encourage the church, even in its growing stage, and plant seeds of growth and stability when he recognizes what God has in them and what God has in store for them. Touch your neighbor and say, he got something for me. He got something for me. Understand tonight, this is not an easy task for Peter because he knows who he's dealing with. Go and get quiet about 15 seconds. Church folk, God knows who he's dealing with. These people have been discouraged over and over again. These people were given a church on the backside of the road, and it wasn't an ivory tower church. These people were told they ain't about nothing and won't ever gonna be nothing. These people never got any money from the conference, and the bishop never came to their church. These people were told your church ain't gonna make it. You just a speck on the side of the road. These people were called everything but a child of God. These people weren't expected to make it. They've been told they won't amount to much. They've been told what they can't do and why they can't do it. They've been told to wait their turn, and their turn never came. I'm just telling you tonight what happened in the scripture. To the background of the text teaches how these people were considered strangers. They were rejects in Anne Arundel County. They were rejects, unacceptable citizens in the New Testament. These are people who are generationally have been low on society's totem pole, and Peter, through God's help, is trying to lift them up. Can I preach some life up in here? See, I just came to speak life tonight to every young person and remind you every now and then God will place you in some dead situations, not for you to die, but to speak life into that place. So please don't get mad at God, saying, God, why you got me in this jacked up family? God, why you got me in this messed up situation? God, why you got me in the slow class? God, why you got me in the poorhouse? God didn't put you there to kill you. God didn't put you there to die. But God put you in there to speak life in the atmosphere.